What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another episode of Titans Global Podcast. I'm your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and with me, as always, is my good buddy Link. What's up, brother?
What's going on? Good to see everybody. And man, just when you think the season's over and the excitement's ending, here we are on another episode with plenty to talk about. But before we introduce guests, before we get into all this, make sure to like, subscribe, comment. If you're already subscribed to us, give us a share. We want to reach as many people as possible. Get in the comment section again. Let us know what you think. We want to hear your thoughts on this one. A lot of opinions flying around there, and we want to hear yours. So make sure you connect with us. And with that, we will get right into it.
Yeah, and if you haven't noticed, we have a special guest this week. We are just now getting into our special guest season, and what better way to kick it off with former co-host Tyler? What's up, dude?
Not much, brother. Just being real sad. That's it. Being a very bad time to be a Titan fan, but we're making it.
Yeah, it's rough on all of us, especially this week. We've had since we've done the show on Monday, it's just been like a roller coaster of crap. But it's headed straight down, which is the crazy part. Carthon gets fired, which I don't agree with. I mean, I don't know how everybody else feels here, but I think that's probably one of the stupidest things. I just don't get why he gets the can. It seems to me that he's done a pretty solid job. I mean, he did spend a lot of money, and they said something about, really formulating a roster instead of just obtaining big names or big players or something like that. So I think they don't think that he was a good team chemistry builder. I don't know. I just thought it was a very off move with what a GM is supposed to do with his job title. Tyler, since you're the special guest, what's your first initial reaction to that?
When I first heard it, I hated it. I was dreading it because I knew that somebody had to get fired after 3-14, but it didn't really make sense to only give the man 2 years with such a terrible roster to start with. That's the part that killed me. And like we were talking about before the show, he was in an impossible situation. And I said that when he came in, because if you looked at the roster whenever he came in, it was an aging roster that missed the Super Bowl window. And we knew a rebuild was coming. And he tried his best. But when you miss on 3 or 4 straight first round picks, this is what happens. That's why we can't build a team, because you have to build it through the draft. And now we're reaping that from the former GM. So I hated it. And I still kind of don't understand it, although I guess there is an angle, but I want to hear what you guys had to like, how your reactions were first before I give the angle that I kind of see their point of view on.
What's your just initial reaction, Link?
Yeah, let me preface everything I'm about to say with, look, I'm a Titans fan. I've rooted for this team since I was in diapers. I root for the logo. That does not mean I have to agree with everything this organization does.
Yes.
And it can mean that I've completely lost trust in what this organization is. So my initial thoughts, I understood it at first because, look, I've been advocating that changes need to be made. And I'm not so much upset at the fact that Carthon was fired. What I'm upset at is that everybody else was retained. This needed to be torn down to the foundation and built up from there. And instead, they've gotten right back into this cycle of hire GM, fire coach, fire GM. Like you're right back in this vicious cycle that leads to these types of losing seasons. So with Carthon, for me, I understand the hate of, okay, he came in, he said the boxes were checked, he said this team was going to be competitive, and then what we saw on the field came nothing close to that. But when you look at it as a whole and you go up to where the decisions are made by this ownership, to me it just shows a lack of knowledge around what the NFL is and a complete failure on building this organization up. And I mean, credit to her. She got the new stadium built, which that's the reason this team was brought to Tennessee in the first place. But other than that, I see a lot of similarities going back to kind of the end of the Oilers days.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we'll try to break down a little bit of Rand. His contract, I don't know. I had a really hard time trying to find final numbers on his contract, which I didn't know the officials or that it would be that hard. Coaches' contracts you can usually look up pretty easily. Anyway, I do know he signed an extension in 2024, just in the
Yeah,
last offseason.
he had 4
which-
years remaining off that extension.
Yeah, so that means we'll be paying him until 2029 or 2020, 28 or 29. I don't know. Too many numbers there for me to think about. I can't add to 5. But the point is that we already know that Amy's not afraid to pay people that's not employed by her. Mike Vrabel's still getting paid. He's not employed. Hasn't been for 2 seasons now. Shit, I know we're paying a bunch of players. This is the last year we had to pay Jones, Julio Jones. We were still paying Julio Jones, y'all. So there's that. The money side of it, they're not worried about. But to me, that seems utterly insane. You give an extension 1 year, and the next year you get the can.
I'm not buying anything they're putting out either about him being lazy and all that. That doesn't make any sense to me, because if he was being lazy in the middle of the season, you're not going to wait until the end of the season to fire him. So I just don't understand it from that perspective. The only way I can make sense of it, and one thing that they did say was like that they want to have a better direction of where the team is going and how to build the team. I get that. But also, you don't want a GM that's going into a make or break season with the first overall pick, because if we get a trade offer to trade back and and it's a lucrative offer, we can get a lot of picks for it. I'm taking that over just swinging for the fences and drafting Shedeur first, because you have to have a quarterback next season or you're going to get fired. So, and Callahan might push for that, but at the same time, a new GM and being able to not be on the hot seat, we're going to have a better decision-making for this season and to build, because a GM doesn't really care if he's going to get fired next year. He doesn't care about the future of the team. He just cares about winning next season and winning enough to not get fired. And I'm glad we did avoid that situation. But at the same time, it's like he probably could have done a decent job of still building the team and building off of what he started.
Yeah, I know the lazy comments have Link all tore up. So yeah, take off Link.
Well, no, I mean, it's just, for one, it's just an attack on character that's completely unnecessary. And to me, that just shows how many stakes you still have left in this management. To me, it seems like you've got a lot of old school versus new school going on right now. It seems like those two are kind of trying to weed each other out. And it just seems backwards to me. Like, it seems like somebody got backstabbed in this, and that was most Carthon. And I mean, good for him to get out while he still could. Honestly, I mean, that's the way I see it. But this stuff about him being, taking naps on the plane ride back and not staying the whole time at pro day, like, okay, you knew this stuff going into the season, so why wait till now? Just like you said. So to me, it just seems sketchy. It seems like drama. It seems like stuff that this organization doesn't need. And especially like you said, it's a make or break season. You've got a coach who's desperate because he knows deep down that he's probably next if things don't work out. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a lot of faith going into this draft pick that whoever's there makes the right decisions, because this team can't even define what this general manager's job's going to be. I mean, this isn't somebody coming in who's, supposed to be like a CEO type. This is basically a glorified talent scout. So I don't even know who would want that job. I mean, obviously it's a general manager position. It's going to get filled, but it just shows the complete levels of dysfunction in what this team is right now, and how somebody's got to get this straightened out.
Yeah. And speaking of dysfunction, the Titans were investigated by the NFL whether we could offer about half of our list of interview or people we wanted to interview, because it would basically be a lateral move to them because of just what you just explained. So, and that's the first time I've ever heard of that. I've never heard of the NFL trying to get in and say, you can't interview this coach because of this or that reason. Now, maybe it's just because I've never been, that's never happened at Tennessee, and I don't really follow a lot of other teams very closely, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen very often. It's basically just this organization. I mean, nobody,
And I mean,
nobody else. It's unprecedented because nobody else has been this stupid enough to try to do this.
and that goes to speak volumes right now. I mean, yeah, it's sad because I've been defending this organization, especially the front office and Amy Adams, because I really believe that she had the best intentions of the team. But I don't, and I mean, obviously she does because she's the owner and she wants to make money, and that's really all this is a business. So obviously she does, but my God, it just seems like she is making irrational, hasty, weird moves that's giving off really strange vibes to everybody in the whole organization and the fan base. A lot of the fan base is taken back by the moves that they're making and the way that they're making the moves. I mean, 2 days before Rand was fired, everybody was like, Rand's good, man. I think even Callahan even said something like, me and Rand are tight and we're still, vibing. I don't see any problems. And then boom, just like you said, it's got to be like a little backstabbing move. I don't know. It just seems shady.
I mean, it was the same thing with Vrabel too. That's why, like, this isn't a one-off thing. Like, if you look back to the Vrabel fire, and it was the same thing. It's like, okay, Levis showed some flashes. We expect him to get another year. This is probably the guy. He's going to have to start quick. Kind of the same things we're saying about Callahan, but the rug was just ripped out right from under him. Same thing it was with Carthon. So this isn't the first time this has happened. I doubt that it's going to be the last. It just makes me wonder, like, why? Like, what does she have influence outside that's kind of pushing her to do these things? Is she giving into the pressure of fans? Because they're for a organization that preaches patience to its fans, they don't seem to have a lot of patience themselves.
That is a very good point. Yeah. Every time we have a losing season, somebody gets fired. So, just like this season, though, all right, everybody wants to, now that the season has come to an end, people are starting to get back on to defending Will Levis. Let's be honest here, dude. If Will Levis doesn't completely blow the first 2 games of the season, and you can blame a loss on a lot of things most of the time. However, the first 2 games of this season, we should have been 2-0 with a halfway competent quarterback. He completely lost us the game, both games. So if he doesn't do that, what does this season turn into? What does the defense quit playing? Do we start trading away our good players? No, we don't do that. So it's hard to blame everybody in the organization for a quarterback who we thought could be the guy, and this was worst case scenario.
Yeah, man, the whole Will Levis experiment. In my eyes, I guess you let him compete with somebody you bring in next year. I don't know, for optics, or maybe you're trying to get some trade bait, so you let him play an extended period in the preseason or whatever to try to showcase what he's got. I don't know. But other than that, I don't really see that much value. And I was one of those Will Levis supporters, man. This time last year, I was excited, But we also did talk about a lot on this show. If half these interceptions are made in this game that Will Levis throwed this year, well, then we're talking a completely and that happened this year. Literally, I told a guy, because he said something about, Will Levis regressing. And I said, he didn't regress, dude. He's just less lucky this year.
Yeah.
Like a lot less lucky. You call it what you want, but that's exactly what it is, because he was hitting people in the chest last year at a pretty scary rate. They just kept dropping him. And for whatever reason, he had the good luck. I don't know if it was the Mayo commercials or, his girlfriend video that leaked or whatever it was, but he has got bad luck, got bad juju.
Well, here's the bigger problem I have with this, because this isn't just fans are upset. Some people in the organization are upset. Like, this affects players too. And there's a lot of guys on this team that really supported Carthon. They thought that he was a good dude, that he was on his player side. Look, he was on the sidelines pretty much every home game, some away games. So if I'm a free agent, like we say we need to bring in a free agent quarterback, we're going to have to fill some holes in free agency. If I'm a free agent and I'm looking at this organization right now, like I don't want to be here. Like no state income tax, that's good. It's a great city, but like nobody seems to know what they're doing right now from a coaching standpoint, from a GM standpoint, from an owner standpoint. So like this is going to decrease some of the stuff that got people here, like Ridley, like Pollard. I don't know that you get those guys if we're in this situation last year. And I think Carthon played a big part in bringing those guys to Nashville. And to me, what's confusing is, you've now redefined this role as GM, but the things you say you're looking for now were the exact same things that Carthon was brought here and succeeded at a lot of them. So I don't know. Like if I'm a player in the NFL and I'm looking in this right now, like I don't know that I want to be here. Does that make sense to you?
No, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. And
That's
just
my
real
biggest
quick,
fear.
let me just rattle off, and I'm going to be real fast about it, but let me just rattle off what I consider good free agents and what I consider not good free agents that Rand Carthon was responsible for signing. I guess Sean Murphy Bunting and Arden Key get an asterisk because I guess technically they could be on either side because Arden Key was cheap and so was Sean Murphy Bunting. 1-year deal with kind of both. I mean, Key was given a 2-year deal, but anyway, my point, or 3-year deal. Point is, David Brunskill, Aziz Al-Shire, Luke Gifford, Chris Hubbard, Chris Moore, Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, Lloyd Cushenberry, Sebastian Joseph Day, Nick Folk, Kenneth Murray, maybe, Chidobe Awuzie, and Morgan Cox. The ones that he brought in that aren't good. Again, you could argue a couple of those that I said before, but Andre Dillard is definitely on that damn list. He's number 1, as a matter of fact. Sadiq Charles is also on that list because he didn't even make it through fucking training camp. And Mason Rudolph's on that list, if you ask me. I mean, he's okay, but again, he's not good. He wasn't. He was brought in as the backup plan if Levis shit the bed, and he did. And Mason goes in, and he's not much better. I mean, he has extremely similar numbers throughout the entire season. The only thing he did better was pocket presence, not getting sacked as much, which,
and not turning the ball
good job.
over.
Yeah, and well, yeah, okay, I guess, yeah. No, I mean, he still
turned
had
it
as
over
many
some.
interceptions. He just didn't have as many fumbles because, he didn't take 37 sacks that Will Levis did or something stupid like. I mean, the number's ridiculous, you guys.
I think it's 41 last time I saw. I don't know. Something like that.
But seriously, though, look at the list. Good, not good. That's ridiculous.
Where did you have Snead on that? Was Snead on the good or not good list?
It's arguable. I didn't put Snead on there basically. Well, I guess I should have. I would have put him on the not good list because it was a big money acquisition and I haven't seen any return on it yet.
Well, and here's why I asked, because I even give a few of those guys more asterisks than you did on the not good. Like Snead, you had a need in the secondary. You tried to fill that need. Obviously, he had some health issues, but nothing to the extent that could have been foreseen. So I don't hate that. I mean, hindsight's 2020. You go get Brownlee. He could have kind of been that plug guy all year. So I don't hate the Snead one as much. And even the Sadiq Charles, like nobody really knows what happened in that situation. That was a weird one. So I don't know. And then, you look at Cushenberry, who was brought in. Obviously, he had an injury, which made him miss some time towards the end. But I mean, all in all, I think given what you had at the time and then where this roster was come week 1, he did as much as he could have. I mean, obviously there were still holes, but this was a winning roster on paper. Even Mason Rudolph, like this guy was not brought in to be a starter. They were going to put all their stock in Will Levis, for better or for worse. They were going to figure it out. I mean, that's what was being preached from day one. So I don't even hate that one as much. Like this guy was brought in to be a okay backup, and I think that's what he did. So, yeah, I mean, I think all in all, this roster was pretty good. They just couldn't find a way to put it together, whether that be on coaching, whether that be on personnel. I think that's still, a lot to be determined that we figure out next year. But, to give the guy 2 years and to see the roster turnover that they had, again, I'm okay with letting him go, but it can't be just him. You either keep everybody or fire everybody. It's got to be all or nothing.
Yeah, what do you think about the free agent acquisitions there, Tyler?
I liked a lot of them. I still love the Snead trade. I don't care. It was a great trade, and I'll argue that till I'm blue in the face. It was great. If you tell me you're going to get me a top 5 DB for a 3rd round pick, and you're going to lock him down to a 4-year contract, give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
We're the Titans, dude. We don't get stuff like that. Like, we don't even get most of the time. If you've been a fan for a long time, and I know both of you guys have as long as I have, we don't get signings that ESPN reports very often. Like most of our signings are just backup players. So for us to trade for Snead and only give up a 3rd, and he's a top 5 DB, he got hurt, and the season didn't go the way that he wanted it to, and he's used to being a Chief. They win every year. So for him to go through the hard times, it was rough on him, and that sucks. But the idea of the trade was great. Looking through the rest of them, Cushenberry hurt. Owuzie hurt half the season. Kenneth Murray Jr., decent. He's a decent linebacker. People hate on him, but something about Titans fans hates linebackers. That's the biggest thing that Titans fans complain about every single season. Rashaan Evans was not that bad. When I look back at it, he was not that bad of a linebacker, but people hated him, dude. Like, I don't know why. I don't get it. But it's the same way with Kenneth Murray. He's okay. He's not a superstar linebacker, but he's okay. He's good enough. And when he was paired with what's his name, the one we traded?
Jones.
Yeah. So whenever he was paired with him, we did great. Our defense was great. They weren't the problem. We traded him away, and we just kind of blew up the team halfway through the season. But I liked him. All his free agent signings, some of them busted, but Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, great. I don't know, man. That's what goes back to not making sense for firing him.
Yeah. I want to blast through another little list here. Rand Carthon's draft picks. This one's a little more balanced, I guess. Again, I've got a couple asterisks here. J.C. Latham, I consider good, obviously. Trevonde Sweat, I consider good. Peter Skoronski, I consider good. Tajay Spears, I consider good. I would say as a 3rd round acquisition, if you would tell me that I would get the production that he does, I'm cool with that. Even if he does tend to be a little injury, or was a little injury prone this year. He wasn't his rookie season. But Cedric Gray, again, I don't know, maybe. Haven't seen enough of him. Josh Wiley, he gets an asterisk because, man, he's got so much potential, but I don't know. We've seen 2 seasons of him now, and I don't see him getting great. But the ones who did not hit are Jalen Duncan, Colton Dowell, Jaquan Jackson, James Williams, Will Levis, and I guess the jury's still out on JJ, but if you notice, most of these picks that didn't hit are 6, 7, 6, 7, and then 2 on Will Levis. But the ones he did hit is 1 and 2. Obviously, you should always hit on 1 and 2. Well, he didn't hit on 2 the second time because Will Levis. But anyway, damn it. Trevonde Sweat was an absolute steal. PFF ranked him as the 15th best rookie in the draft this year. So I think you get him in the 2nd round. That's a hell of a steal. I don't know. I just, for me, that list is a decent list. Your 1st through 5th. Damn it, man. I don't know. And he got better this year than he was last year. So in my opinion, I still think he drafts pretty good too. So you get good acquisition. You get good, free agents. You get good picks, or decent picks at least, better than average. And you've got him locked down for 4 years. I don't see it, I see a scapegoat, but I don't see someone who was legitimately fired for being bad at their job, as far as I can tell. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Rand could have been lazy. He sure didn't look lazy to me when he was, doing his free agency thing. with that video on Twitter, it went nuts with him and Tajay Spears like dishing it up, and Tajay's messing with him like a little kid or something. He was on his phone the entire time, and I think that thing had to have been videoed at like 10 or 11 o'clock. Had to have been. It was dark. I mean, super dark. And this is in the summer, like July. So,
and that's my thing. If you get the players here, if you fill out a roster, if you make good draft picks, I could give a damn less if you go to sleep on a flight home. Like, I don't like that. That's why it makes no sense to me. Like it even if that's true, even if you want to call him lazy, he did his job. And this is what I wanted to get to too. I saw this comment about maybe Brinker actually had a lot of influence in these picks. Like, of course they're going to say that. Of course they're going to say that because now we're sitting here talking about how Carthon made these picks. And I'm not saying Brinker wasn't involved in the draft process. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but they're not going to say, no, he had no hand in it, because that's just going to make you lose faith either more. So that to me just doesn't make sense. I think these were Carthon picks. I think he did have a lot of influence in free agency. And to give him the can like this without holding anybody else responsible for a 3-win season, to me just seems like Aaron said, just absolutely petty.
Yeah, again, man, that's just yeah, beyond petty. I'm gonna try to get off the the Rand Carthon. I'm just pissed off about it, if I'm being honest. I don't have a nice way of saying it. I think there's few times that I think the franchise really does people wrong, like the way we did Derek Mason and the way we did Steve McNair back in the day. That was just mishandled. It was shitty. Most of the fan base didn't like it. I feel like this is the same. I think, and most of the time our fan base is at least split 50-50. Because, that's just the way it is. But I don't know. I think the majority of people are pissed off about the Rand Carthon firing. I don't know. I just thought that was some
and I don't even think it's the firing. I think it's just like, what I'm mad about isn't the firing. I'm mad about the direction. Like the trajectory of what this team is. Like, again, I was one advocating that changes need to be made, and I did not leave Carthon out of that. I also didn't leave Callahan out of that. And for me, that's what's so upsetting is it's not the firing in itself, it's the direction and the decisions and the lack of leadership that this team absolutely shows every single day. Like the GM position, having that be a pseudo GM job and having Brinker being the final say, and the guy was friends with Rand and brought in with Rand, and then all of a sudden takes his job and has nothing really that good to say about it. Like, it's just the team as a whole is what's so frustrating. It's not the firing itself. I think most fans are just mad because this is not what's going to lead to a winning organization in the next few years.
I want to go through real quick. We went through with your good and bad of these draft picks. The only one I really disagree with you on is James Williams, because he's not great right now at middle linebacker, but at the end of the season, he started getting a lot better, and he's going to put on
a lot of potential.
He does. And I mean, if he puts on some more muscle, and I said it on Twitter last year, and then after we drafted him, and I was like, man, if this guy can get to 250, put on 20 pounds of muscle, he's going to be an absolute monster. And people blew up about it, like, oh, you know how hard it is to put on 20 pounds of muscle? Yes, I do. But guess what? This guy's entire life is just dedicated to that. If you told me you would give me $4 million a year if I could put on 20 pounds of muscle, guess what? I'm going to put on 20 pounds of muscle. I'm not going to stop until I do. But anyways, he's got a ton of potential. And I don't know what the deal is with Cedric Gray. I have no idea. I don't know. Like, he was touted as pretty good coming out of college, and he struggled to get off the practice squad as a rookie on a terrible team. So, like, I don't understand that at all. We played Luke Gifford over Cedric Gray. That's saying something. Yeah,
it was definitely troubling. And they said it was lack of practice or whatever. But, man, I don't know. I hope it's just the injury kept him out or something like that. I don't know. I gave him the benefit of the doubt because, like you said, he was highly touted coming out of college. Oh.
I think if worst thing we can say about James Williams is we don't know if he's going to be that good or not. He's a 7th-round pick. Like,
Yeah.
so that alone, like I'm not going to call any of these guys in those higher rounds a bust because they're high round picks. Like that's what those guys are for. They might work out, they might not. But as long as you're hitting on those first 3 or 4, and I know Eric Gray was a 4th rounder and that was a little bit questionable, but I think you made up with that in guys like Brownlee. So for me, when you look at it as a whole, I still give him at least an A to A- in the draft picks.
Yeah, I mean Latham, dog, Sweat, dog, Brownlee, dog, Jackson, trash, but I mean he drafted him for Tajay. I get it. James Williams, probably a dog. Skoronski, dog. Spears, dog. Wiley's all right, good backup tight end. I mean, if you can hit on that many draft picks in 2 years, I'm good with it. Levis didn't work out. Is a good flyer to take. If he boomed, we got the next Aaron Rodgers. Now it sucks, but we got the number 1 overall pick. So, and the man perfectly executed a tank. Let's not overlook that. We did exactly what we needed to. We did not win the last 2 or 3 games that we needed to lose. We did a perfect job. It was great.
Yeah, we would not let a quarterback get comfortable in the end of the season. We were like, no, we're going to switch him every 2 games.
Dude,
in the last game, we're just going to do this.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, when I knew the tank was on against the Texans in the last game was when it was, 1st and goal for the Texans, and we didn't have Sweat or Simmons on the field. We were trying to give them a touchdown. Like we didn't have our 2 best defensive linemen for whatever reason. You could say it's because they're tired, but that's bullshit, and we all know it. Like, I mean, that's if we took them off the field so they could score, and they still threw the ball. But I loved it though. I'm so glad. I'm so glad we tanked because I'm so tired of being an 8-8. Well, it used to be 8-8 franchise, 9-7. Like just tank, dude. If we miss the playoffs, who cares? Whether we're 3-14 or 8-9, you still miss the playoffs. So let's go get a good draft pick and then trade it back and get Abdul Carter and build this team. We'll go into that, I'm sure. That's
yeah, man. Yeah. So, I'm glad you're hanging out with us. Stick around. We got about a 40-second ad. We got to give it up for the sponsors. So chill out. We'll be right back.
Let's go.
What's up, Titans fans? Maximus Titan fan here. Are you in need of professional excavation services? Look no further. Red Zone Builders has the expertise, experience, and equipment to handle all or any excavation project, big or small. Whether you need land clearing, site preparation, trenching, foundation excavation, or any other excavation services, they have you covered. Their team of skilled professionals work diligently to ensure your project is completed safely, efficiently, and to your satisfaction. Trust the experts at Red Zone Builders to get the job done right. Boom. Told you, 40-second ad.
Good stuff.
Not that bad. So, all right. So, we're interviewing people. Who cares? I guess there's somebody out there who does, but I don't really, to be honest. There's a bunch of different candidates. Like I said, the NFL tried to block half of them because it'd be a lateral move, which I don't really know that much about a lot of these people because I don't really care about the GMs, to be honest. Unless you're great, then I know who you are. But if you're just average or up and comer, especially if you're an assistant GM, I don't know who the hell you are. But there is one dude that sticks out, obviously. John Eric Sullivan and Turon talked about it. But he has ties with Brinker, and they work together at Green Bay. And Green Bay's actually pretty good at scouting talent, so not a terrible idea.
Green Bay's never been bad. When have you? I mean, what, 1 or 2 years in our lifetime? Like, if we can be like the Packers, I'm all for it. But
going from far to Rodgers helps out a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, dude. I'm kind of ready for Green Bay to suck just a little bit, and the only reason I say that, I know I'm probably making a few people upset with that, but the only reason I say that is because my father-in-law is a Green Bay Packers fan. We talk about it a lot. I bring it up every time, and I'm just tired of getting shit on at the Super Bowl when I say something and he's like, yeah, like the Titans did, he 3-win piece of, and I'm like, man, come on now, and be talking about my team, man. But I don't know. I just,
they're not.
They need to suck just a little bit.
They're
but
not.
Yeah, no, it's not.
They got Jordan Love now. That's the next one. They went from Favre to Rodgers to Jordan Love. I mean, we can't get a good quarterback since Steve McNair, and they can't get a bad quarterback. I hate them. I love them, but I hate them. I like them more than – that's probably my favorite NFC team, I would imagine. But
notice that's a key point for me, because notice how they did it. Like when those decisions were made to bring in Rodgers, and when the decision was made to bring in Love, like those weren't very popular decisions by the fan base. They especially weren't popular decisions by the acting quarterback at the time. But because they did that, because they set themselves up for the future and didn't just have to swing on guys like Levis and swing on guys like possibly Shadur or Cam Ward, like that's what set them up for pretty consistent success. So for me, it's all about, like, if you look at how that organization is run, I know it's completely different. A lot of that's like it's multiple ownership. Like they've got a lot of people with a lot of say, but it just goes to show, like, if you have the right people in place, if you're able to make the right decisions and build through the draft, you can stay consistently competitive and not end up in the situation that the Titans are in right now.
So you're telling me that you would rather have Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love than Zach Mettenberger and Jay Locker and Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill and Will Levis?
Absolutely correct.
And
I'll even give you the thing about it is, like, the last time we were in this situation is when we saw a guy like Marcus Mariota, and at the time I think people were all in all pretty excited about that pick. I mean, you've got a Heisman guy coming out of Oregon. He kind of had that West Coast high flying offense that everybody wanted to see. But again, you swung on a guy, you threw him out there as a rookie, and he didn't have a lot of success. He just didn't have time to grow. So that's why I'm saying, if you're going to bring in a young quarterback in this draft, I think you still have to go get a veteran and not just throw a guy to the wolves like we've seen time and time again.
I agree, but that's the thing about Mariota that'll kill me forever, dude, is like how mismanaged he was, because we brought him out of Oregon, high-flying offense, burners everywhere, throw screens, throw slants, and he can run. You come to the Titans, and we're running the same offense that we were, this pro-style bullshit offense.
It was actually called exotic smash mouth. And
that's your core. And you can't do that to Marcus Mariota. If we ran – like, if we would have ran the Jalen Hurts type of offense with him, then he would have still been a Titans quarterback to this day. He's really not bad. He just was mismanaged his first 3-4 years in the league.
4 years.
And then, and that sucks, because look who we had as a head coach. And then we got Vrabel, and Vrabel's great, but he didn't run that style of offense. He didn't get in a good situation to start out, and it ruined his confidence. That's my biggest argument for starting a rookie as well. And I had that argument with not an argument, but the guy from Indianapolis, their big radio guy, was on a podcast with him, and I asked him about Anthony Richardson. It's the same question. You put him out there as a rookie. If he does great, but if he does bad, how does that ruin his confidence before he gets a chance to develop into a good passer and a good NFL quarterback? And we're seeing now how it affected him. He's not a good quarterback. He's a good running back, not a good quarterback.
Well, and that's an interesting one too, because not only does he not have a lot of NFL experience, he doesn't even have a lot of college experience. Like Anthony Richardson, people forget that one season he put on at Florida, that was pretty much it. That's when everybody learned his name. That's when all of a sudden he shot up these draft boards. And I mean, you get a guy like that, and you have a lot of upside to him, but you haven't seen all of his game. You don't know how well that's going to translate. So I'm glad that this new, and I'm not meaning to get way off topic here, but I'm glad that this new NIL structure is in college now, because you've got guys like today. It was just announced that Carson Beck's going to stay another year.
Thank God.
You've got guys like Drew Aller that are willing to stay because the money's there. Instead of having to go in the first round and try to get these big bonus checks, you've got guys that are going to play more games, that are going to get more starts. And I think it's going to make things a little bit easier when it comes to these evaluations. But that's why for me right now, like we talk about this draft and going into it, I've been pretty vocal that I don't love either one of these, top two quarterbacks that we see. So again, that's why I'm preaching so much for free agency to get a veteran guy in here. Even if you do have somebody, at least give them the time to develop in the system, to learn the playbook, to have that full off season, and not just be thrown to the wolves and have to go out there and ruin their bodies, ruin their confidence, trying to play for a team that isn't ready for somebody like that to start yet.
Yeah. But at the same time, also, I think you have to bring in a quarterback who's going to fit the same type of system. Because
Right,
if you trade for Kirk Cousins and then draft Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward, they're two completely
totally
different systems.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we can't – and you don't want Kirk Cousins to get hurt halfway through the season and then you have a quarterback come in who's a completely different type of quarterback. So, I mean – and I guess Cam Ward's not really that much. I guess he's a great arm talent too. So Shadur is too. I don't know. I don't know. Like the way Cam Ward plays and watching him play, he just plays with a swagger that I like. I like him a lot more than Shadur is more of like, he's going to be great for publicity, but who knows how good he's going to be because Colorado wasn't that good and they didn't play in very many high level games. So it's hard to get a grade on how he's going to do in the NFL. He's a Sanders, so he's blessed with God-given ability off rip. Your dad's an NFL Hall of Famer, and we're going to get Hard Knocks if we get him, and we'll get a lot of publicity. And Dion will be here in a year or two, and that's cool. But is it the guy? And can you afford to miss on the number one pick for a quarterback? You can't.
No, so you absolutely can't.
I mean, that's going to set us back another 3 years if that happens. That's why I'm so iffy on it.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of spending a overall first draft pick on a quarterback. I don't really like the idea of, like some people have said, trade down to second or third and then take a quarterback. I don't like that idea either. I like trading down to at least 5 or 6. Either land Abdul Carter or what's that dude? The dude from Texas.
Oh no, who?
No, the big brute left tackle from Texas. Going to play.
Well, I'm going to be beyond irate if we draft another offensive tackle with our first round pick.
Oh my God, you guys sound like everybody I've been arguing with.
You have to take a skill position player, whether that's a quarterback, whether that's an edge rush, whether that's a wide receiver. You have to take. You just have to take a skill position player. You have to.
Yeah. I agree that our right tackle spot has to be addressed, but there's a couple options in free agency for us, or we can trade for one, but we've got to get some playmakers on this team. That's what we're missing. All we have is Calvin Ridley, and that's it. And on defense, who is our playmakers? Kevin Byard used to be that guy. He's not there anymore. We don't have that many playmakers. We need them. And Harold Landry's not much of a playmaker.
God damn it, Michael. He's our local comedian. He keeps me laughing. That's a good one though.
What is.
Are you doing?
The NFL will have Callahan fired if he talks to Shadur like that. That's the thing. Like that's what's gonna kill me about it, man. Like cool.
You talk about the ridiculousness you see online. There are so many people out there asking us to draft Shadur Sanders and
Travis Hunter,
whatever his brother's name is.
Thank you.
And then get Deion Sanders as our head coach. I'm like, y'all, come on now. Seriously, that's no, hell no.
What do you think the comment? So obviously, when Rand was let go, Deion was one of the first guys to kind of tweet that out and put the wow with the eye emojis. What's the angle on that in your opinion? Is that just him reacting to what he sees? Is that him kind of second guessing, how successful that Shadur could be here? Like, do you read into any of that at all whatsoever?
Oh yeah, no, he did that absolutely intentionally. He probably is just testing to see how desperate this franchise really is. Like, hey, I'll be your head coach. I don't care. Come on, guys. You can draft my sons and we'll, roll. That's what was. I believe either that or he was just, had a good relationship with Rand or something like that. But no, I feel like that was intentional.
Here's a theory for you. How about Deion might not have liked Rand. They might have crossed paths. I don't know. I think Rand played after Deion retired, but he might not like him, and he might have told the Titans, like, if you want to draft Shadur, get rid of him. And that's why he was the first one to react to the news, because he knew it was coming. That would be funny. I doubt that's what happened, but hey, let's get crazy with it, because nobody knows what happened. Nobody knows what that's for. So, but it is funny that he reacted.
Dysfunction.
Yeah,
that's just more dysfunction. All right. So, all right, on to other news that, I'll be honest, man. Like I said, I've been a Titans fan a long time. Like, this dude aged me right here. Michael threw that out. It's a joke, but Billy Volek is one of the most underrated, pieces on a Titans team, and he should have gotten his year to start. But we drafted Vince Young, and God, we know what a shit show that was. I mean, I guess he was decent.
I mean, it should have worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, again, when he was drafted, just like Mariota, when he was drafted, there was a lot of hope around it, and that's why I just, again, I know it's bad to say, I have no confidence in this number one pick. I mean, we've just seen it time and time again fail.
Yeah, man, and that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that I feel like he was a better fit for Fisher's system and what Fisher tried to do. So when Vince Young got thrown in there, even though he was a young and upcoming talent, had all the freaking talent in the world, led us to our first winning season in like 5 seasons, I think. But it still was just a bad pick for the situation. I mean, the situation was all screwed up. We talk about Mariota being in a screwed up situation. Holy crap, dude. And Vince Young, kudos for Mariota, because if he had the same mentality Vince Young did, he might have ended up in the same boat. So
yeah. Vince just kind of went crazy. He was a dog. His rookie season was like, it was great.
He's
and then
still crazy.
He just went crazy all of a sudden. I don't know.
He's still nuts, man. He got fired from his liaison job at UT or whatever because of some craziness. I don't remember. I remember reading that.
Do y'all remember who came in and replaced him that season that he went crazy and led us to the number 1 seed?
Yeah, Kerry Collins, man.
Yes,
come on, dude.
I was at the game when he eclipsed like 10,000 is it passing yards, or I don't know, something. He eclipsed something. I was at the Texans game that year at home. Oh, nice.
Dude,
okay.
That's when everybody said, "Hold my beer." That's when that became famous. Was sorry, that was a low shot. Barry Collins is freaking cool, man. I guess I don't know. I've never met him in person. Fitzy was cool though. Fitzpatrick, he's a cool dude. I would have fun with Fitz on a night. Some alcohol, or maybe some other stuff.
Hold on, Max.
Just saying. Hey, man. No, God, no, not like that. Damn, y'all, Jesus. No, I was just talking about going out and having a good time. Bigger party favors than alcohol. That's all I was saying. Jesus, y'all. Damn. By the way, the way you laugh, I swear to God, dude. And I said this to my wife tonight. Do you know who Theo Vaughn is?
Yes, sir. That's my boy.
You remind me so much of Theo Vaughn, bro.
That's my boy right there, dude. I love Theo. I wish I was as funny as Theo, man. Like that guy, yeah. You talking about somebody? Yeah, that'd be a guy to party with back in his day.
Oh, dude, are you kidding?
Now, but
well, yeah. I like. Oh God, I was watching one of his best ofs. Just rolling clips off, and it was that one where he was on the Joe Rogan show, and he was talking about. Had his blender going or some crap at like 1 o'clock in the morning, just out of his mind on shrooms or something, and then locks himself out of his apartment and has to go to his supervisor to get the dude. And he's like, I was having a late New Year's Eve party, and he was like, or a late Christmas party, and he said it was like December 22nd. And he said the guy gets up there and opens the door, and there's nobody in the apartment. And then Joe Rogan's like, Jesus, dude, like, how long ago was this? Or how old were you then? He was like, I was like 27. This was just last year. I still live there. And it's like, Jesus, dude. Oh, man.
Dude, that guy. I can't even say a lot of the stuff that he says, but man. That guy.
Yeah, not on here.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Shane Gillis, dude. 2 goats right there. The goats of this generation, comedy-wise. I love them. Anyway,
Matt Rife.
Do
you know Matt Rife? No.
Big hater. I'm a big Matt Rife hater, dude. I'm his biggest hater. If Matt Rife only has one hater in the world, it's me. I can't stand the dude. Not funny
Man,
at all.
he's so quick. He's
I
so
can't stand
quick.
him, dude.
Yeah, I'm with
Cannot
Tyler on
Oh
this
stand
one.
him.
man.
Yeah,
He
Shane
does have
Gillis
some
Really?
funny
Giovanni, I'm
clips.
with Tyler on this one. Yeah.
I can't even tell the joke. Not even close to telling any of the jokes that he says because he is pretty damn offensive. But I don't know. I still like him.
I think it's hilarious. Like I think of offensive stuff like Tony Hinchcliffe with Kill Tony is hilarious. I love it. I just don't like Matt Rife.
I like Bert. Hey, another good one now that Bert Kirshner. He's a new one that's hilarious. I don't
Bert
know if he's
is
new.
a little bit of a one trick pony with the machine joke on. Yeah, I like him all right, but kind of an attention wants attention. We'll just say it like
Y'all
that.
are killing me, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm a huge comedy guy, but ever since like I don't know, I used to watch a lot of old comedy stuff with my dad, so I got a lot of the 70s stuff, like
You're in the
well, not
Kennison.
70s,
You were in the
80s,
Kennison
like
era, right?
Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Whoopi Goldberg, and not Whoopi Goldberg in movies. I'm talking about Whoopi Goldberg stand up that I can't even say the name of the freaking tour she went on because it was so raunchy. Robin Williams was my number one, dude. He was the funniest man alive. But and there for a while, man, I just quit. I gave up on comedy because people just weren't funny.
It was trash.
People just weren't funny, especially when the cancel culture came in and just kind of destroyed. Because comedy, you ride a fine line in between what's offensive and what isn't. Yeah, and now there's a couple guys out there that I feel like, and girls. There's one or two girls that are pretty freaking funny too. I can't remember that one chick's name, but she's hilarious.
Cam Congdon's hilarious. Nikki Glazier, I think is her name.
Nikki Glazier.
She's funny.
That's
there's a few of them. Like there's a few of them coming up. But like the whole thing that Joe Rogan's doing with the Comedy Mothership and then Kill Tony being there too, they're going crazy, man. It almost had me ready to move to Austin, like because I just wanted to be around that vibe.
That they're talking about bringing one to Nashville.
Yeah,
that would be wild. That would be absolutely wild.
Yeah, because Theo's going to be there like every week, pretty much.
Oh my God! All right, dude. All right, seriously, Michael. Our sense of humor is right on par, but we might actually be like kindred spirits or something. Because Mitch Hedberg. If y'all don't know Mitch Hedberg, man, y'all gotta look Mitch Hedberg up. He's a freaking comedy legend.
The one I'm trying to think of.
His delivery was perfect.
The dude from New York that's on he's on Protect Our Parks with Ari Shaffir and Shane Gillis and Rogan. Dude,
you're not talking about Aziz.
No, not Aziz.
Okay.
Man, hold on. I gotta look it up. It's gonna kill me.
Is that the same? Sorry,
I know we got way off topic here. But it's a good topic. I personally love comedy movies. As a matter of fact, it runs in my blood. And the reason I know this is because not only did my dad teach me all these old school filthy ass comics when I was really young, but my daughter is 10, and she asked me this year, "What's your favorite Christmas movie, Daddy?" And obviously there are some Christmas movies I can't show my daughter, but my genuine answer to that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Saw that for the first time this year.
Nice.
And so my wife, like a couple days later, we're just chilling on like a Saturday afternoon or something. Daughter's over there playing on her computer, doing her thing. And the wife turns it on and the daughter ends up completely looking away from her stupid ass computer game that she was playing, whatever it was, and literally just turns around and locks onto the television for the next hour and a half. And bro, I can't get my daughter to watch kids movies all the way through. So I was just like, that's my blood.
Proud dad moment right there.
Yeah, that one got me because I knew she came from me. But
Mark Norman was who I was thinking of, by the way. Mark Norman, hilarious. The guy is so funny with the puns, man. He's worth going to Google. He's a comedian.
Mark Norman, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I don't know that one, so I'm gonna have to look Mark Norman up.
He's funny. Yeah. But anyways,
Yeah, yeah. And as a matter of fact, I've thought about just throwing a show together like that just because I like talking to people about stupid crap that has
Dude, we could talk about anything and everything. There's only so much going on with the Titans right now. So
that is very true. And the off-season shows are much like this. We get into stupid conversations about,
right.
what people like and what people don't like. But
Have you ever seen that? I think it was a Family Guy clip of Fox News where it was like, that sucks. Yes, it sucks. Yes, we agree. We agree on everything. It's pretty much the Titans off season so far. It sucks. Everything sucks. I don't want to be here.
everybody has the same. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, but when like your parents get in one of those really hardcore cussing fights and you're just sitting there like,
yeah.
That's what I feel like being a Titans fan right now. Everybody in the national media is going nuts and the local media is going nuts. And I'm just like, damn it, y'all, come on now, quit fighting, just get along. Let's have some milk and cookies. But to get back on the subject, and I hate to do it because, I would love to end on a jovial note like that. But I have to talk about it. Longtime Titans fan, lost a lot of people. None of them hurt me as much as this guy. Mike Keith left. Link is the only Vols fan here. That's why he's so happy, obviously.
I absolutely love it. The man gets to go back home where he was taught to do what he does. He's been in that stadium since he was 18, 19 years old, working with the Vols. He said this was his dream job.
Yeah.
It 100% was. And I think the day that Kessling announced he was retiring, we had a show like the next day, and I got on here pre-show and I was like, you know what this means, right? Like everybody knew Mike Keith, like he wanted that. I'm super happy for him, excited to hear him on that radio call. But to your point, it is kind of the icing on top for Titans fans. I mean, you lose Carthon, your organization's in disarray, and then you lose the hands down voice of the Titans. Been here from day one, had some incredible calls, maybe one of the best, if not the best, radio coverer of a sports team. When you look around at what radio is, like to this day, I still mute the TV and put my headphones on to listen to Mike Keith on the radio call. Just, can't enough be said about him as far as being professional, to the point, and just an all around good guy. And I am beyond the moon to see him bring that to Knoxville and take over as voice of the Vols.
I am incredibly jealous. I'm sick to my stomach about it, dude, because first of all, no disrespect, I hate tennis, the Volunteers. I hate. There's a few teams I hate: Auburn, LSU, Tennessee, Ohio State. Throw them in there. But I don't ever want to see Georgia win. Don't get me wrong.
Come on now.
I really do. Georgia really wasn't a rivalry until like 4 or 5 years ago when Kirby left. Whenever that was, 7, 8 years ago now, I guess. But no, man. Bama had, to me, growing up, there was 2 GOATs in the radio industry, and it was probably biased, but I mean, Eli Gold has the voice of an angel, the best radio voice of all time. I mean, there's nobody like him, most unique voice. And then you had Mike Keith for the Titans. So I got the best of both worlds growing up. Eli's calling Bama games. You wake up on Saturday morning, leaves are falling, it's 65 degrees. You cut on Eli to get ready, blood's flowing. And then Sunday you wake up, get out of church, and you're cutting on Mike Keith to get you ready for the Titans game and listen to them. And man, it sucks because now Eli's gone. Bama's radio is horrible. And now I lose Mike Keith to my bitter rival, and he goes back home to be the best in the business now because Eli's retired. So I'm getting shit on by every direction. We both got new head coaches. DeBoer sucks. Callie's not very good. Like everything sucks right now in football. Honestly, I'm kind of just thinking of taking up badminton and just completely forgetting about this sport for a couple of years, dude.
Play pickleball.
Yeah.
We'll cover some pickleball.
Is Mike Keith leaving more impactful to this organization than Ray Carthon getting fired?
I think it hurts a hell of a lot more.
I think it's a bigger scar, but I don't think it impacts the
I think it's pretty impactful. Like,
It is
I really do. Like, I seriously think it just goes to show. And I'm not saying Mike Keith left because this is a failing organization. The Tennessee job came
you
open,
got
and
an
that's the job he
opportunity.
wanted.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. But it optic wise, like it looks bad from the outside looking in. Like it looks like a sinking ship, and everything's kind of the perfect storm coming together right now to just crap on Titans fans.
What really sucks is we're never going to hear from Amy Adams Strunk again because that's the only person that could get her to talk. So we're basically out on her being any type of active owner at this point. So that really sucks. Just to pile on to everything else.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you down a little short. I'm gonna try to make it short, quick story. But back in the day, I don't know. It's been a minute. Titans Caravan used to come around a lot. You went there to get signatures from players, meet players, whatever. While we were there, you're standing in this ridiculously stupid long line. As you trot through or whatever, you get the 3 players at the table or whatever. You get to meet them, take a little selfie if you want, then you move on down the row. And for some reason, Mike Keith is standing over here. Nobody's talking to him. Nope. So I just kind of like mosey my way over there and introduced myself and asked if I could shake his hand. And then I asked him if I could get a signature. And he was kind of taken aback by it almost. He signed my piece. He signed my hat for me and took a picture with me. I still have the picture today. I wish I would have thought about it to throw up here real quick, but it's because it shows you how old it is. He looks young. He's only like 35 or 40 in the picture, so it's a long time ago. Anyway, he was just such a cool dude, down to earth. And on that trip, I actually found out he went to UT because, we were in Knoxville because I live really close to Knoxville and that's the biggest town around me. So that's where we would go to get the Titans Caravan. But yeah, he was just asking me, hey, because I was the age of a college kid. He was like, you going to UT? And I was like, no. He was like, oh, it's a alma mater. Anyway, point is, then I found out the whole story. I don't know where I read it at, maybe because I'm a UT or around UT, but they were talking about how big of an influence John Ward was in his career. And he even started off his first year in broadcasting at UT while he was still attending there, some with John Ward and some with, I think, the baseball team or something like that. He called some kind of championship baseball team for him. But anyway, I've met him, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 times. And after the second time of meeting Mike Keith, when I walked up to him, he couldn't remember my name, but he knew who I was. Because he even talked about, the interactions that we had at the Titans Caravan and everything. And that meant more to me than anything else. And the dude was, I just wanted to meet the guy because I've been listening to him since, I don't think he was there the first year the Titans were here. I think technically 97 was the year they moved here. It might have been 98. I don't know. I get fuzzy around the beginning. But since the beginning, basically, we've all just been listening to Mike Keith. And I had been listening to him for like 7 years at that point or something like that. So I was really a huge fan of Mike Keith. I couldn't believe that nobody else was bothering him. Of course, the funny part about the story is when I chuckled over there, my buddy who was with me, also my brother-in-law now, chuckled over there and got his autograph too. And then literally the line just started forming and everybody started shuffling towards Mike Keith. I don't know if they didn't know who he was or what, but it was kind of a funny thing. But I actually stood there and talked to him for a good 5 minutes. Just a really cool, down-to-earth guy. When you meet somebody like that, you expect them to be, I don't know, like famous people.
Yeah.
Assholes. And he wasn't. He was such not an asshole. He was so cool, man. Just really made me appreciate the regular people, I guess, in the industry. And he is one of the real ones. And he's just a super awesome dude. And yeah, like you said, it's his dream job. I'm so freaking happy for it. It's kind of like the Henry thing. I'm happy for him, but I'm really sad for me, man. Like literally that it took me a minute when I read that on my phone. It was kind of like saying one of my really good. I don't know. It just hurt. It hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know how it hurt, but it hurt.
Yeah, and we knew, like you said, I mean, we knew it was coming.
As soon as the report
as
started.
soon as Kessling said that he was done. I mean, I think everybody kind of knew it was Mike Keith. I think even this organization knew that there was probably conversations had, within a week of Kessling announcing his retirement. So, yeah, it just super happy for him. This is a lot better for me than Derrick Henry to the Ravens because I love the Vols and I hate the Ravens. So, a lot easier to be excited about this one for me.
Dude, I've never been that big of a Ravens hater. Like, I get it. Like, I understand the rivalry from back in the day, and I understand that. But Ozzie Newsome went to the same high school that I did, and so I kind of can't hate him. They put together that Super Bowl roster I think he won 2 Super Bowls with them.
With our team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were, and that sucks. But and I love Ray Lewis too. I can't that was my favorite non-Titan growing up by far. Him and Ed Reed back there, man. That's prime football in my opinion. Like that was the window of the best football era, and now we're California soft.
I agree.
So it's starting to suck a little bit. All my teams suck, and we can't hit people anymore, and everything just sucks. I told everybody on Twitter, dude, tune in to hear me complain. I'm gonna bitch and moan for 2 hours. Everything sucks.
He said Ozzie's his least favorite Newsome. What the
hey. NFL Hall of Famer, played for Bear Bryant, went to my high school. The man, he's 6'4", and like whenever he walks into a room, it's like all the attention goes straight to him. He came to our high school and did whatever the thing is, and like I was so excited, dude. He's a dickhead. Don't get me wrong, he is a dickhead. He doesn't like to talk to people. He's not like a big I say he's a dickhead from what I've seen. I don't know him personally. No disrespect, Ozzie. I love you. I'm a dickhead sometimes, dude. It's fine. No, man. Don't hate on.
Especially
Don't hate
at work,
on
I'm an ass. Well, folks, if you stuck around, the show's a little different, and that's because we're in the off season now. So we'll talk about whatever we can. Well, please, and thank you though, seriously, for hanging around. If you're first time tuning in, get over there to YouTube, check us out. You get a little free extra tidbits on YouTube. It's the only place you can get all the stuff that I put out. Also, you want to follow us on Facebook or Twitter. We're also there. My man Tyler Jones, thank you for coming on and hanging out with us on our first off-season show, man. Do you want to shout out anything?
Follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Titan_always22, the Ryan Stonehouse Stan account, the GOAT. It was the Brett Kern Stan account. I'm the only punter Stan account I've ever seen, so I've got that going for me. I tweet a couple funny things every now and then, and I like to complain about everything the Titans do, so follow me, baby. That's where we're at.
Link, you got anything you want to wrap up, brother?
No, just appreciate you guys being with us tonight. As always, just stay tuned. There's going to be plenty more to talk about than off season. A lot of stuff coming up, so just stay with us. We'll give you any announcements. And remember, I know there's a lot of negative right now, but winning fixes everything. And if this team finds a way to come out next season and win some games, that puts all this to bed, and we're sitting here saying, they knew exactly what they were doing the whole time. So just stay with us, root for the logo. We'll get through this together, and we will see you next time.
That's it, man. Thank you, and until next time, tighten up.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.
Tighten up.